When you look at the issues facing religious life, religious conviction, there are a lot of darts that are thrown, and it's almost a cyclicality. I mentioned in our opening biblical criticism. There are issues now that relate to morality, particularly in the moment, and how we think about and consider the LGBT community in light of halachic restrictions. There's always going to be people who are bothered by theodicy and the question of how bad things could happen to good people in the presence of evil in the world. There are all these different categories, nearly all of which that you have contributed or addressed in one way or another over their history. What issue facing religious conviction, which of these darts do you find the most concerning and that the most work still needs to be done in order to address people who are grappling with faith in the modern world?
When I was a teenager, I would say theodicy. That's an issue that you can't simply turn your back on. You talk about biblical criticism, so there are people whose business it is to know about these things. If anybody wants to study Tanakh seriously, there's a point where they're consciously or unconsciously will be dealing with these problems. I don't know if we should call them problems even, with data that may deserve to be looked at seriously. It does not bother me that, say, the majority of the people who hear me discuss Chumash Shudas don't realize that sometimes I'm playing with these considerations as well. I once wrote an article on Vayikra, which had no reference to biblical criticism at all. Yaakov Elman glanced at it and he said, well, you solved this problem, but you didn't really contribute anything on that issue. But not everybody thinks that way. The question of evil, suffering, is something that we can't really avoid.